They told you that single men are missing something, but what if they're the ones who actually found it? Most men don't fall in battle. They fade in a life that no longer feels like theirs. You've seen it before. Maybe you've even lived it once. The slow fade you couldn't name. A man comes home from work, throws his keys on the table, scrolls his phone for hours, pretending it's rest, when it's really escape. He used to have dreams, plans, spark. Now he just tells himself, at least I'm not alone. That's the quiet death no one talks about. But here's the funny part. Sometimes that silence starts feeling good, like life finally stops shouting at you. But if you're hearing this now, it means you haven't disappeared. You're waking up. Men aren't falling in battle anymore. They're fading in silence. You see it everywhere. The man who keeps busy so he doesn't have to think. The husband who stays for stability but hasn't smiled in years. The colleague who jokes too loud so no one notices how tired his eyes have become. Society claps for them, calls it maturity, responsibility, sacrifice. But the Stoics would call it what it truly is: self-abandonment. A man who cannot sit with himself will always chase someone else's noise. He'll call it love. He'll call it purpose. But really, it's fear in disguise. You've probably felt that fear too. Those nights when the TV keeps talking, even after you stop listening. That ache that says, don't turn it off, or you'll hear yourself again. But what if the quiet isn't the enemy? What if it's the first honest conversation you have had in years? This isn't a story about loneliness. It's about freedom. The kind that begins when you stop leaning on everyone but yourself. When you sit in your quiet room and realize nothing's missing except the version of you that forgot how to breathe without permission. And somewhere between regret and peace, a man learns to smile again. So don't rush to fill the calm. Stay with it. Because the moment you stop escaping your own company, something powerful begins to unfold. You start remembering who you were before the world told you what to be. That's not loneliness. That's return. Maybe that's why you're here, because a part of you, the calm, unshaken part, is finally waking up. So I'll ask you this. Are you ready to face the only battle that ever mattered? The one inside the quiet room, where no one claps, no one saves you, and no one leaves but you. Because if you are, then stay. You're exactly where your real life begins. And if part of you still feels unsure, that's okay. Healing never begins in confidence. It begins in honesty. The shield against wrong attachments. The most dangerous loss a man can suffer isn't money. It's direction. And nothing steals a man's direction faster than an attachment driven by fear. This isn't about blaming men or women. It's about taking responsibility for the dynamics we choose with anyone. You don't need an evil person to destroy you. Just the wrong fit at the wrong time, when I still believed connection could fix what self-respect could not. It doesn't start with betrayal. It starts with small sacrifices. The text you didn't send, the dream you quietly paused, the truth you softened so someone else could stay comfortable. Then one day you wake up realizing you haven't been living. You've been adjusting. You know that quiet morning when you stare at your phone and realize the person texting you doesn't even make you smile anymore. But you still reply out of habit? We've all done it. Replying to a text we didn't want to, just to prove we're still okay. That's the moment your soul starts negotiating its own worth. People think chains make a sound when they close around you, but the worst chains don't rattle. They whisper. Control can hide inside care or compromise, either side. If us keeps shrinking until it's only one person's comfort, that isn't love, that's quiet control. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor who spent his life mastering restraint, once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events, But when fear of being alone drives your choices, you hand that power away. And the one you give it to rarely gives it back. I've watched powerful men, CEOs, soldiers, artists, crumble not from failure, but from emotional fatigue. They didn't lose everything at once. They lost it drip by drip, through apologies they didn't owe, boundaries they didn't defend, and futures they quietly abandoned to keep the peace. And I'll be honest, I once made the same mistake. I thought if I just loved harder, the relationship would change. But love isn't rehab. Two whole people have to meet in the middle. No one heals by being your project. That's how devotion becomes self-erasure. A man draining himself just to keep someone else comfortable. You don't have to dim yourself to be loved. Real love never asks for that. And sometimes we're the ones asking others to dim. Awareness goes both ways. So no, being single isn't emptiness. It's clarity. It's the shield that stops you from confusing comfort with connection. Because once you've tasted peace, chaos no longer feels like passion. It just feels like poison. Sometimes what feels like comfort is just slow surrender. The real test of love isn't how warm it feels. It's how much peace it takes from you. Try this tonight. Write down 3 times you felt small in a past relationship. Then ask yourself, was that love or was that fear dressed as loyalty? If you can answer honestly, you've already started breaking the spell. And maybe for the first time, you'll realize solitude isn't the absence of love. It's the space where your dignity grows back. Learning to walk alone again isn't easy, but one day that quiet will start to feel like home. Some nights your phone will stay quiet and your heart will argue, but that silence is not punishment. It's recovery. Every day you stay unattached to the wrong person, you're not lonely. You're free. You're not lonely. You're claiming your sovereignty, the power to choose your inner state. And when you finally stop begging to be understood, something extraordinary happens. You start understanding yourself. That's when your room starts to sound different. Not like an empty room, but like a safe one. The kind of quiet that feels like home after years of noise. Because the real gift of solitude is not that no one can hurt you. It's that no one can make you forget who you are again. Be honest. Have you ever stayed in a dynamic that drained both of you, just because being single felt harder? If no one ever told you this, choosing peace over partnership doesn't make you hard. It just means you finally learned the difference between loneliness and self-respect. Mastery through self-reliance. You know that moment when you finally fix something in your home and realize no one's coming, and that's okay? A man's strength doesn't show in how much he can lift. It shows in how little he needs to lean. Comfort without competence makes one fragile. Dependency weakens the inner center. And the moment you realize no one is coming to save you is the moment you finally begin to stand. Most people never face that moment because life makes it easy to outsource your soul. You can always call a friend, ask a partner, scroll a feed, distract your pain. But the man who lives on his own learns the oldest discipline there is, to build his peace without witnesses. Do it yourself. Fix the leak. Cook your meals. Face your thoughts. Slowly, something subtle happens. The complaints fade. The same chores that once annoyed you become rituals. The quiet becomes routine. The repetition becomes grounding. That's self-reliance, invisible strength, built in private. Every small habit you hold without being told, planning your week, managing your finances, facing bad days without reaching for escape, becomes quiet armor. And over time, that armor doesn't harden you. It centers you. There's a reason Stoics spoke of self-command. You stop begging life to be easy. You start preparing yourself to be ready. Because when you no longer need anyone to steady you, you become the one others instinctively trust. This mastery isn't isolation. It's the groundwork that allows you to contribute strongly to your community and loved ones without needing them to complete you. People will test that peace. Some will call you distant, some will call you cold, but they don't understand you're not withdrawing, you're returning. Returning to the part of you that doesn't collapse when things fall apart. Dependence feels safe now, but weak later. That's the paradox of men. We're taught to share the load, not to carry our own center. Independence feels lonely now, but strong forever. The man who learns to stand alone rarely has to crawl again. And when he does, he rises faster. And then one day, you'll notice the shift. The silence that once scared you becomes fuel. The loneliness that once hurt becomes focus. The discipline that once felt heavy becomes freedom. Because true mastery doesn't shout. It's the calm man in a chaotic room, the one who doesn't rush to prove anything, because he already proved it to himself when no one was watching. And that's when solitude changes shape. It stops testing you. It starts trusting you. You realize the weight you once resented has become the ground you now stand on. Steady, firm, unshaken. You're not waiting for rescue anymore. You've become the rescue, and it won't happen overnight. Strength grows slow, one quiet choice, one clean boundary, one honest morning at a time. Solitude becomes strength. Have you ever noticed how uneasy people become when the room goes quiet? They fidget, grab their phone, turn on music, talk just to fill the air, as if stillness itself is dangerous. But silence isn't the threat, it's the mirror. And most men are terrified of what they might see in it. You know that Sunday evening feeling when everything's quiet, the dishes are done, and yet your chest still feels heavy. That's not emptiness, that's you meeting yourself again. But with time, something shifts. You stop running from your thoughts and start understanding them. You begin to see that the stillness isn't punishing you. It's preparing you. You're not falling apart. You're just rearranging. In solitude, distractions die and patterns appear. You start recognizing the reasons behind your choices, the wounds behind your reactions, the lies you told yourself just to belong. The world outside becomes slower, and the world inside becomes clearer. That's when stillness stops feeling empty and starts teaching you. It teaches patience. It teaches listening. It teaches you that your peace was never lost. It was just buried under noise. Think of solitude like a forge. The heat is uncomfortable, but it's where steel becomes stronger. Or picture it like a weight room for your mind. At first it shakes you, but each repetition builds unseen muscle. History proves it. Darwin, Einstein, men who stepped back from the crowd, who found brilliance not in company, but in contemplation. They discovered that when the world goes quiet, truth becomes clearer. Solitude strips away illusions. The idea that you need constant validation, that you're incomplete without company. Sit with that. When you stay in that calm long enough, you realize the opposite is true. You were never incomplete, just distracted. Most men spend their lives trying to be understood, but in solitude, something extraordinary happens. You finally start understanding yourself. And once you know your own patterns, your own voice, your own rhythm, you stop being manipulated by the noise around you. You no longer chase people who don't choose you. You no longer compete with men who don't even know who they are. You begin to act, not react. That's when strength appears. Not loud, not dramatic, but grounded. It's the calm of a man who knows his value without needing anyone to confirm it. It's the quiet certainty that whatever happens tomorrow, he'll face it without losing his center. Because solitude doesn't break men, it shows where their strength still needs to grow. And when you stop fearing that stillness, you realize something powerful. The quiet you once avoided was never empty. You'll feel it one Sunday morning, coffee in hand, no plans, and somehow it feels enough. It was always full of you. Take a second. You've been walking through silence, pain, and strength. Now let's talk about control, the quiet kind that changes everything. Emotional control. Now that you've seen what stillness can teach, let's talk about how it changes your reactions, how it reshapes the way you move through pressure. Ever tried yelling at your computer when it froze? You slam the keys, curse the screen, yet it doesn't respond. It just reflects your chaos back at you. That's how most people live, reacting to life as if emotion itself were proof of control. But it's not. The louder the reaction, the less control you actually have. Most men never realize how much of their peace depends on someone else's mood. A boss's tone, a partner's silence, a stranger's opinion. One wrong word and their day is gone. That's not life. That's emotional slavery. But when it's just you, the mirror changes. There's no one left to absorb your storms, no partner to blame, no friend to vent to every night. At first, that absence feels brutal, like standing in the rain with no umbrella. But slowly, you start learning how to stay dry. And sure, sometimes you still talk to the microwave just to feel heard. But at least now you know it's not the microwave's fault. That's emotional control, not suppression, not coldness, but calm precision. It's the art of feeling deeply without losing your direction. You begin to notice your triggers, not as enemies, but as teachers. The Stoics called this commanding the inner calm. Marcus Aurelius wrote that you cannot control what happens, only how you respond. Living by yourself forces you to test that truth daily. No audience, no applause, just you deciding whether to collapse or compose. Imagine driving on a slick road in the rain. Most people slam the brakes and lose control, but the trained driver eases the wheel, adjusts gently, and glides through. That's what emotional mastery looks like. Steady hands in chaos. You stop judging emotions as good or bad. You start reading them like signals. What is this feeling trying to tell me? And once you learn that language, nothing can catch you off guard anymore. People start noticing something different in you. Your calm begins to unsettle their drama. Your calm becomes authority. You don't need to prove power, you become it. And here's the twist. Emotional control doesn't make you distant, it makes you warmer. Because when you're no longer hijacked by your moods, you can finally be present, fully, honestly, and without pretending. You listen better, you love cleaner, you forgive faster. That's the paradox. The man who masters his emotions doesn't feel less. He feels more, but wisely. And in that mastery, solitude becomes your dojo. You stop reacting to life like a child. You start responding like a creator. Emotional control isn't about building walls. It's about opening the gates only when peace is ready to enter. And once you taste that level of calm, chaos no longer excites you. It bores you. That's when you know you've grown. When drama feels small and silence feels sacred. Because real power never shouts. It breathes. So far, we've seen what solitude strips away. Noise, fear, dependency. But here's the beautiful part. Once those layers fall, what remains is not emptiness. It's strength in its purest form. Can you remember the last time you reacted before thinking and how it changed the moment? Alone is full, not empty. They warned you about being alone, didn't they? They said it would be cold, dull, quiet. That solitude is what happens when something goes wrong. But here's what they never told you. Loneliness and solitude are two different worlds wearing the same mask. Loneliness drains you because you're waiting for someone to fill the space. Solitude restores you because you finally realize the space was yours all along. When you stop running from your own presence, something unexpected happens. Life starts sounding different. The morning coffee tastes sharper. The room feels wider. You sit by the window with no one waiting for you, and somehow the light feels softer. Not lonely, just honest. Even the air seems cleaner, as if the quiet has been waiting for you. Being on your own isn't punishment, it's permission. Permission to live at your own tempo again. To eat when you're hungry, sleep when you're tired, read without interruption, and think without defending your thoughts. You begin to feel the quiet dignity of ownership over your time, your energy, your peace. I remember after my divorce, I used to set one plate on the table. At first, that sound, just one plate, felt like a reminder of failure. But as weeks passed, the silence grew deeper, not heavier. That table, for one, became the place I rebuilt myself. I realized the chair across from me was never empty. It was open for life, for peace, for anyone worthy enough to sit there one day. Crowds can make you forget your own voice. Noise can trick you into thinking you're living. But solitude brings you face to face with your soul. No filters, no performance. And maybe the quiet isn't loneliness at all. It's peace finally taking form. Look at men like Keanu Reeves, an actor admired not for noise, but for quiet depth. He walks the streets alone and eats alone, yet somehow radiates calm, kindness, gravity. That's not loneliness, that's presence. A man who's learned that silence isn't emptiness, it's alignment. So if you ever sit in your room and wonder, is this all there is? Stay still a little longer, because that question isn't despair, it's awakening. It's the soul stretching after years of being crammed into other people's expectations. Don't confuse a quiet home with an empty life. Some of the most vibrant men in history lived alone and left echoes that still move us centuries later. Because once you stop needing someone to witness your life, you begin to actually live it. That's the real fullness of solitude. When the quiet stops echoing and starts feeling alive. When you realize you are never missing anything, you are just missing yourself. Peace without negotiations. Most men don't realize how much of their peace is traded away in small conversations. You don't lose calm through one big argument. You lose it through 1,000 micro bargains. Should I say this or stay quiet? Will this upset her? Maybe I'll just agree to keep the peace. And little by little you disappear. In any shared life, compromise is required. But true peace is lost when you constantly negotiate your core truth. What to eat, what to watch, when to rest. You start filtering your tone, measuring your truth, trimming your edges to stay acceptable. Soon you're living on emotional autopilot, careful, polite, controlled, but never free. Then one day you live on your own, and the strangest thing happens. No one is tallying your words. No one is silently grading your choices. You walk into your space and it feels weightless, not because everything's perfect, but because nothing is being contested. That's when you realize peace isn't something you earn through harmony with others. It's what remains when there's nothing left to prove. Marcus Aurelius said, "It's not the thing itself that disturbs you, but your judgment of it." When you're alone, that truth hits differently. There's no one left to judge, no one to persuade, no one to please. You begin to see that most stress in relationships wasn't from conflict. It was from constant self-adjustment. I once caught myself laughing at jokes I didn't enjoy, agreeing with opinions I didn't share, and eating at places I secretly disliked, all to avoid friction. That wasn't their fault. I wasn't honest about my preferences. I even sat through a 3-hour movie I hated, just so I wouldn't have to explain why I preferred silence. That's not peace, that's quiet exhaustion. But the moment you start living alone, peace stops being a truce and becomes your default state. You can sit in your chair, breathe, and realize nothing is pending. No reaction is required. No apology is owed. And you'll notice something else. When you stop negotiating peace with others, you start keeping peace with yourself. There's a deep relief in that first morning when you wake up and realize the air in your home belongs to you again. No arguments, no tension, no scorekeeping, just clarity. People often confuse solitude with quiet, but they're not the same. Silence is the sound around you. Peace is the sound within you. And once you hear that inner quiet, it's addictive. You start protecting it the way you once protected relationships. Because the truth is, peace doesn't require balance between two people. It only requires one person who refuses to live in chaos. Freedom isn't loud. It's the calm rhythm of your life returning to its natural flow. And when peace finally arrives, it's not a victory march. It's a quiet exhale, the kind that tells you you're safe now. So when the world tries to convince you that solitude is loneliness, remember this: peace doesn't need witnesses to be real. It just needs space. And finally, you've given it one. Give yourself credit. Protecting your peace is not selfish. It's how you show up better for everyone. Since living alone, what's one small freedom you've quietly started to enjoy again? Grow without permission. Most people never grow because they're still waiting for permission. Permission to start. Permission to change. Permission to be different from the version that others fell in love with. But when you're by yourself, that waiting game ends. There's no committee to convince, no family vote to pass, no partner's comfort to protect. You start moving again, not because anyone pushed you, but because no one's holding you back. Growth thrives in quiet rooms. You wake up one morning and realize you can rebuild your life without announcing it. Maybe it starts small, rearranging your room, signing up for a night class, fixing something that's been broken for months. And that's when it hits you. Growth doesn't need an audience. You can take a class, change a habit, start a side business, write a book, or simply reinvent your rhythm. And no one has to approve. Freedom is not just about where you live. It's about what you allow yourself to attempt. My mentor, Kai, understood that better than anyone. He was an older man who lived simply, alone, surrounded by books and silence. One day I found out he had applied to study psychology at a university, even though he was already well past 60. When I asked him why, he just smiled and said, "Because I'm still curious." That sentence stayed with me. It taught me that youth is not an age. It's a decision. The moment you stop seeking permission to evolve, time stops being your enemy and becomes your partner. Most men never change until silence forces them to. When you live alone, you learn that the world doesn't actually care if you succeed or not. That realization might sound cold, but it's liberating. Because once you stop chasing validation, you start chasing mastery. You no longer need the world to agree. You only need to be honest with yourself. Growth isn't loud. It's not in the selfies or the celebrations. It's in the quiet hours when you choose learning over distraction, clarity over comfort, solitude over noise. And the irony? The more you grow in silence, the louder your presence becomes. People begin to sense something in you: steadiness, direction, weight. You've stopped asking for applause, and that's exactly when you become worth applauding. So if you've ever felt stuck waiting for someone's green light, here's your sign. You are the permission. You have waited long enough for approval. It's time to move, and life will move with you. You are the authority you have been seeking, and every moment spent alone is an invitation to become more than you were yesterday. This message protects both sides. Take your space to grow. Then bring that steadiness back to the people you care about. If you're still here, thank you for staying with me through the quiet. If this message spoke to you, share it with a man who's learning to stand again. This is Move or Die Stoic, where men remember what strength really feels like. Because real growth doesn't happen when others believe in you. It happens the day you stop needing them to. And when you finally master being alone, something shifts. You stop needing people, but you start loving them differently. Solitude is training, not escape. It prepares you for deeper, healthier connection. And maybe the greatest gift of walking alone is this. One day you'll meet people again, and this time you'll love them without losing yourself. From freedom, not from fear. That is the final, unshakable foundation of the self, virtue independent of circumstance.